Hi, guys. Welcome back. Another episode today, and this is one I've been wanting to do for a while. I got Colton here today with me, and Colton is the one, if you don't remember and you don't watch the YouTube channel, Colton's the one that we had that amazing, epic Cinnamon Teal hunt. And I would say most people that are listening probably have never even, I wouldn't say most, but a majority of people probably haven't shot a Cinnamon Teal, I'm thinking. You can shoot them out here in California. I think they have some in Texas. And I'm trying to think of where else in the country you can shoot cinnamons. I mean, they migrate through there.
Yeah.
It's just the timing of when they migrate through. So we're just going to talk a little bit about that. Also, Colton is in, I think the last time you were on, were you even in nursing school yet? I think you were going through EMT or something.
Yeah, I was just in my EMT.
Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit about that. He's in nursing school, and also we'll probably tell a couple EMS stories Colton has, depending on what he wants to talk about. But I'll share a little bit what I do, because I'm a pilot for our local air ambulance, and then Colton is an EMT, but he's also getting his nursing license, and he's hoping to, I shouldn't say hoping, planning
to.
On getting on the helicopter too. It'd be kind of cool to work together. So anyways, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate you guys and all your support. Hey, do us a favor before we start this podcast today. Go on iTunes if that's the platform you listen on, and please give us a rating and review. Give us 1 star, 2 stars, 5 stars, whatever you give. I haven't really been pushing that lately, and it's something I need to get back on. So, anywho, let's talk about the hunt.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Did you expect that day
No.
to see cinnamons like that? I know
No.
I didn't.
Had we heard there was a couple in there, right? Like,
From who, though?
didn't Thomas or Talon say they'd seen some fly through there? Or you said
We were the first ones to hunt in there. Now, when me, Thomas, and Travis were walking to hunt another area, we seen a bunch of birds flush out of there.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think we seen. I mean, it's not like we haven't hunted there before. We've all hunted there before, and I have shot cinnamon there before.
I never had.
Oh, really?
I shot.
You shot them, but you're just not there.
We had green wings, and then Johnny. Wait, that one day we went in there, Johnny shot his trifecta.
In that same spot?
Same area.
Okay.
Yeah.
They like that site over there. I don't know what it is.
That was the only cinnamon and blue wing we had seen. It wasn't like there was a ton of them in there. It was mainly 90% green wings and a couple mallards.
Yeah. Yeah, there is just a few mallards in there, but it's not a lot.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, so what happened was we went in, we were walking in on a week prior to hunt in the back of the refuge, and I think Travis noticed at first, we like kind of looked back, or I looked back, one of us, and I mean a lot of birds flushed out of this general area. We didn't know exactly where it was at. And I'm like, holy moly, no one's been hunting there a while, because there's no way on a refuge like we hunt, birds don't stack up like that, nowhere, unless it just literally hasn't been hunted anywhere. So we seen that. How did it work out that me and you went together on that? I don't know if it was a lot spur of the moment thing or what.
I think it was because with our work schedules,
we get off midweek.
We get
else.
midweek off.
Yeah.
So we were like, let's just go. And he said, I have the spot I want to try.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, why not?
And it was funny because when we went in there, I don't think we flushed anything out of there.
Not really.
So there definitely weren't roosts in there, which is good. But I was like, okay, whatever. I mean, I figured we'd shoot some birds, but man, and so okay. So we went in there. We set up.
We set up on the wrong side of the pond.
Yes. But we did, although at the same time, I like being on that south side facing north, because it's nice seeing the birds come, because we knew the birds were going to come from the north.
Yeah.
The problem was the wind. The wind was blowing out of the north. And I don't think it was really windy that day, maybe 5 to 6, maybe just a little bit of a puff of breeze.
Yeah, nothing crazy at all.
Yeah, but we set up, you started saying it first. I remember you saying, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So let's kind of walk through it. So we set up, I don't remember how many decoys.
Just a few, and we had your really tall mojo set up out there.
And which I put away from us.
Put away from us, yeah. And then we had did we have another little short one? A little closer to us?
I think that little, what's the one? The goofy looking one.
A little spoony?
The spoony one, yeah.
Yeah. And then started off with those 2 gadwalls that came in.
Yep.
I doubled up on those. No. I missed one.
You shot the one. You crushed the first one, and you could see my shotgun. I had my gun on that one. You crushed him. You shot 2 more and missed.
Yeah, I missed.
I think you might have kind of clipped his back end a little bit. And then it took me 3 shots to knock him down.
Yeah.
I stoned him though after that. You're like, get him, get him, get him. Finally knocked him down, but yeah, and it was like, okay. I was in my mind, I was thinking, okay, we might be shooting bigger birds this morning because really there was. It started off fast. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, and
then maybe a shoveler or two come in through there or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, and then I shot a cinnamon, and we're like, oh, that's
right.
Go.
That was your second bird, right?
Yeah, it was my second bird.
So you dropped that bird. Did you know what it was at first, or did you just think it was a teal?
I thought it was a teal.
Did you? Okay, so you dropped it. Rocky's bringing it back, and he's coming from your side. I think you noticed it first. And I'm like, it's a cinnamon. And you're like, yeah. I'm like, I don't know when the last time. How long had it been since you shot one?
Maybe a year and a half.
Oh, so not too bad.
Not too long, but it's definitely not that often for me.
Yeah.
Maybe one a season.
I was all stoked. Although I still didn't think like, okay, we're just gonna see all kinds of cinnamons. I was just like, oh, sweet, man. I wish, wish I was. And it was funny because when you shot that one, there was a Drake shoveler and a cinnamon that came in, and the shoveler was actually lower.
Yeah.
And I thought you were gonna shoot him, and you shot, and then nothing fell. Like at first, that bird didn't fall. All of a sudden, I see something else fall.
I didn't even see the shoveler. I was just focused on that bird.
Yeah. And that thing, you crushed him, fell down. And I remember us mumbling to each other like, we're on the wrong side.
Yep.
You were starting to say it a little bit first, and I'm like, dude, I'm just nervous to move because I hate not being able to see the birds coming. But sure enough, they'd come right at us, swoop.
They kind of banked to your mojo, right?
Yeah, they were like sucking right to it. Usually they're kind of avoiding it.
Yeah.
And then they would come in and want to act like they wanted to land facing away from us, and we were trying to shoot them in the rear end. It just wasn't working. I don't know how many birds you had at that time before we moved.
I think I had 3.
Okay, and I think I only had that one wall.
Yeah.
And I was missing.
Well, I had your A5 that day, and then you had the 20 gauge.
Yeah. Which I was totally fine with because, so a little backstory there, guys. The reason that was like that is because that wreck that Colton and all them got in and just bent his brand new
Wicked Wings.
That's gracious. That was a heartbreaker.
And I thought it was perfect. It still looked perfect, and I pulled up with it and just had the slightest bend to it. So she's gone.
That's sad.
I had about 5 hunts on it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Were you shooting good with it?
Oh, yeah. I was just getting dialed in with it. Like where I really, really liked it.
Yeah.
Because I shot it with you and up in Alturas. That's when.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
I took it.
Yeah,
up there.
you were shooting good up there.
That's when I finally started to dial it in.
Okay.
But yeah, right after that.
Yeah, so I forgot about that. You took that. I changed out my full kicks. You're like, yeah, just put modified. So I put the modified kicks in there. You were shooting really good that day, and I was shooting opposite. And I had just really what's funny is that and 2 other times specifically for the whole season. Those were only 3 hunts out of all the year that I shot. I felt like it was bad. Like, I mean, to me, I'm trying to think. I didn't go over box though. But when you have 5 shells left and you have 4 birds and the limit's 7, to me, I mean, I'm not saying I'm a pro shooter. I'm trying not to say this where people are thinking, oh, you're complaining about that. But I just have my standards for myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not trying to say if anybody shoots over a box, they're terrible shooters. I don't want to go back to the truck and get in a box.
And where we were was not a fun pond to walk through. That was miserable. That was a horrible muck hole.
Horrible. Like, remind me back of the old days and some other ponds where they triple plow those things.
Yeah. Up to your knees in some spots with the mud.
It don't matter how good a shape you're in, you can't train for that. No. Like, you just can't. It's like it gets in your hips, and just
make sure the bird's dead before it hits the water.
Yeah.
Or have a good dog.
Yeah, and so he had that gun. I had mine with, and I will say this, I do like full chokes or and I just recently switched like a year ago to that. But full, or what's the other word? They call it long range. I think on the choke for that which is it's not a Jebs, it's not a Kicks. What is on my 20 gauge? What brand is that? I can't remember. When you buy those guns now, the oh my goodness, what is my gun called? A Franke. The Franke 20 gauges come with that specific choke. They're well known and it patterns great. But knowing what I know now, being a till hunt, I probably would have shot modified, honestly, because they were pretty close. A lot of them. I mean, that one cinnamon I shot that I was souping and hollering, it blew his bill off.
Him.
It was direct headshot, which was great. That's how I like killing my birds. But I was like,
That was a cinnamon.
that might have been why I was having a little hard time struggling, and on a cinnamon. Full-size bird, yeah, of course a headshot.
Yeah.
And really what's funny is that bird still wasn't that messed up as you think it would be. Like, I thought, the head would be gone. I thought I'd take the head off.
You creamed him.
Yeah, I creamed him. But I was pumped. I was like, hey, you know what? When you're that pumped, there's a reason for it. It means I've been missing really bad.
Yeah, you were starting to get just a tad frustrated. Which was
know me, yeah.
Which was getting into your head and wasn't helping your shooting whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. It was, and that's kind of how I can be a head case like that. I tried to, but I definitely say this. Not bragging, but because I can't brag as bad as I shot, but I did pull it off because I had 5 shells left, and I either killed 3 or 4 with those 5. I can't remember.
Didn't you double up?
I don't know if I doubled up that day or not.
Maybe that was up
on
north.
what?
I thought you doubled up on. Maybe you didn't. You may have pulled it off.
I did double up in that pond twice in one hunt.
Okay.
The next week.
Okay.
So I don't know if that you're thinking of that.
Yeah.
Because I actually just was doing some editing on some videos and I seen that. I was like, oh, I didn't know I actually did that twice in one hunt. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. You go from shooting almost a whole box to shooting 11 or 12 on the next with the same gun. So, shooting's temperamental or whatever. But anyways, so we moved to the other side, and that's when it was just like
there was cinnamons everywhere.
Unbelievable.
If we would have known there was that many, we could have both limited on Drake cinnamons. They were still coming in when we were wrapping up.
Yep.
Just watching them fly by.
So you shot 4 Drake cinnamons.
I had 4 Drake cinnamons, Gadwall.
Drake Gadwall.
And then
a Drake shoveler and a Drake green wing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really starting to think you was going to maybe shoot the trifecta, honestly.
I was holding out.
Because I thought that one that come through there was a Drake Bluing, but you were looking at the cinnamon.
I was shooting at the Drake cinnamon, yeah.
I could be wrong, though. I don't see why they'd be flying together. It'd be kind of weird. So I might just been wanting to see that. But, yeah, that was a good call because when we moved over there, it was just like we were shooting them right in the lips, like in the face. And I'm not saying they were all just wanting to land, but it was just nice shooting them coming at you and then, flaring right up. Just like you like right here.
Well,
and
the first one you shot, remember you shot him and then he fell into the tulies? We looked and looked and looked.
Yeah, we took Rocky. Did we take Rocky over there?
Yeah, we took him over there. We looked for like 30 minutes and couldn't find him. So finally we were just like, we'll come back and look later for him, I guess.
That's crazy that we still went back over there.
We went over there.
After already looking with the dog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were wrapping up and you had 6 and you're like, let's just go look one more time.
Yeah.
And you went back behind the Chili somewhere. I kept saying, I think he's right here.
Yeah.
And then Rocky came by me, and like right then we fleshed him out. He came running out of the Tulies, and then Rocky chased him probably for another 15 minutes all through the Tulies and caught him.
Yeah, that was nuts.
I was crawling on my hands chasing him through there because he was right in front of me. I just could not. They were so thick.
Just out of reach.
Just out of my reach every time I would try to grab him. But
that was crazy.
That was a 1 in a million find.
Like when you're even with the dog, just for the fact that we let so much time go by.
Yeah.
And then went back over there. And you were right. You were, thank goodness, because I'm almost wondering, like, if you wouldn't have really been right where that bird was at, if Rocky would have caught wind, because he had went through there so many times.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it created a fresh trail, because he was probably laying there hurt, and then moved him around a little bit, and he got caught wind again or something. I don't know, but that bird had a will to live. That's for sure.
But at least we got him, so he didn't suffer.
Yeah, because I don't like that.
I hate losing birds.
Oh, and that's the thing is with the dog, it's made me, I don't want to be one of those guys that, you need a dog, everybody needs a dog. But at the same time, it's like, man, all the birds over the years we've lost when we didn't have dogs, which you've had a dog for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But, think about the times when you didn't have the dog with you. How many birds?
Yeah. It makes you sick.
And it's not, I'm not talking about, okay, because that's another reason I like to full choke is selling birds. That makes you sick to your stomach because there's no way you're going to get it.
No. Yeah,
it could sell 300-400 yards. That's a bad shot. That's just bottom line is a bad shot. And you can do that if they're 20 yards away, or you can do that if they're, 40 yards away. Because people say, oh, you'll never do that if you would shoot them close enough. It's like, that's not true at all. I watched several people that don't like taking farther shots tailpipe them, and the bird completely get it sell off.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But having the dog, and so that doesn't change what I'm saying with having a dog, doesn't change the fact of making a bad shot, especially if it's going to be that far away. But where we hunt with the way these toolies are, they're dropping these toolies that, I mean, you guys
they can be stone dead, and you still can't find them.
stone dead, and they are usually, and you're never gonna find them.
No.
I mean, like, I don't know how that's possible. Like, you mark. We always learned mark. As it falls, don't take your eyes, don't look away, stay on it, and walk right towards it, and walk in there. And
you never see it.
8 times out of 10, you still ain't gonna find them. So, yeah, that's just, I don't know what the dog though, and it's crazy because he's down at that level, you know, and he's somehow weaving his way through there. I mean, like that hunt with Barney, what was that he shot? I think it was a Drake Widgeon. We were getting ready to walk away because that was so windy that had the toolies blown flat over, and it was creating a thickness to where he couldn't even enter.
Yeah,
like go inside of it, and I made a hole, like scooped it back, and he just went in like a little rat, and you see his tail sticking out, and he disappeared in there, and he came back. It took like 10 minutes for him to find it, but he came out with that Drake Widgeon, and it's like, I should have tracked.
you're dumping that.
Oh, I should have tracked how many birds that, let's say, probably would have been lost.
Oh, yeah.
And counted over the season. I'm not exaggerating when I say at least 30, 40 birds. I would think. With people I've hunted with over the year.
I can't tell you how many times just with Roxy.
Yeah.
Walking out to the blind or whatever, she liked to take off and run through the tulies.
Uh-huh.
She'd come out with a bird.
Oh, she's amazing.
Almost every time, every hunt, she'd pull out something. She's brought me Drake Pintails, Drake Mallards. It's like, these aren't even my ducks.
Oh, really?
It's still
birds from before?
It's
like
still
other
hunters, yeah.
Wow.
They're still alive. Their wings are clipped.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I see. Rocky, I don't think he's done. I haven't ended up getting a bird from someone else.
It happened all the time.
Wow.
Like, I would turn around, here she comes with this stud Mallards. Like, really?
There goes my bag. I gotta
claim
keep
this
something
bird.
I haven't shot. Dude. But that's good, though. I mean, because then they're not suffering anymore.
Yeah. But, yeah, it happened all the time.
Such a good conservation tool. I never, maybe being younger, as you get older, you're like, that's not good. Not thinking when I was young, I didn't think it was bad, but you just don't, I don't think you pay attention as much about it. But now it's like, I will never hunt without a dog again, ever.
No.
Because, I mean, you walk away, like, okay, you walked away that day with 4 birds, but you shot 7.
You're like, yeah, if I had my dog, I knew I would have had him.
Yeah. And I won't lie, once or twice this year I didn't take him because it was going to be pretty tough to like haul the dog stand, this and that.
Yep.
The whole time I regretted it. Whole time. And lost 1 or 2 birds. So, yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. But anyways, we end up walking out of there. Let's see. So we did that. We we found that bird. We limited, got out. Picked up our decoys, took some pictures. That was just really cool.
We spent an hour on the bank taking pictures and just looking at them.
Well, we were like, hey, how often is this going to happen? Let's take advantage. Because I'm bad. You're probably the same way as like, just you're hungry, the hunt's over, let's just get out of here and go. But
yeah.
I was like, no, let's just take our time because I always rush. I want to get on the bank, get back to the truck, go eat. But it was worth it.
We sent some cool pictures of Marcos to the guys.
That was awesome. Even when I rewatched that Marco, I went back. That's too far back now.
I saved it.
You did?
Uh-huh.
I've watched it, and it is funny when you're watching because you forget how many. You're like, okay, 3 or 4 Drake Cinnamons in. You're like, oh, that's cool. And it just keeps going. You're like, my goodness. The reactions of the guys on there was hilarious.
Yeah.
Or some that didn't say nothing because they were jealous, but later was like, I couldn't believe you just kept going. There was more. What tune was that we had playing? So what happened is we had this rap song.
It was like, this is how we do it or something.
Yeah. And we lined all the birds up and was really close. And Marco Polo, we were just slowly scanning out some thug music playing, basically. I think Big Johnny was like, that was the best Marco of the year or something. It was cool. We were rubbing it in a little bit to our buddies.
Oh, yeah. You have to.
We have a bunch of duck hunting buddies all on one Marco Polo so we can stay in tune throughout the season. If you guys don't know what that is, check it out. It's just an app on your phone. It's kind of like a walkie-talkie / video deal. It's a pretty neat way to stay in tune during duck season. But anyways, so let's move on to that's how that ended. It's a great memory.
It was a crazy hunt.
It was.
That's the one that'll go down in my books as like one of the top 10
for sure,
without a doubt.
Easily, and it just slowly happened. It wasn't like it was instant. It was just like 3 hours in, you're like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just giggling to myself like a little girl. I'm like, this is nuts. But Let's get into your little bit of your the schooling and stuff. Going to get your nursing license and stuff. How's that going?
It's going good. I just finished my first semester yesterday. That was the last day this semester.
Oh,
I have
really?
3 more to go.
3 more sponsors.
Yeah, 3 more to go till I graduate with my RN.
Because you started in the fall, right? Is when you're.
I started spring. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Why did I? Yeah, that's right. Because Cheyenne started in the fall.
Yeah, Cheyenne
You
started fall. I
spring.
started spring. Yeah.
Okay, so she's done with 2.
She just finished her second. Yeah, she's halfway done.
Okay.
I'm
How's
more-
it going? Is it?
It's
Oh, how'd
definitely.
that test go you took yesterday?
It went
or
good.
whatever.
I
Did it
took
go
it-
good?
When did I take that? That was yesterday.
Or maybe yeah.
It went good.
It did. Did
Yeah.
you know right then if you passed or failed?
No.
So you gotta wait.
Usually we do, but that one she just held off and didn't show us the grade. But I woke up this morning to about 80 texts from my group,
People mad or happy, one of the two.
both. But she's messing with our scores now, so we're all just sitting there waiting to see
You're kidding.
if we made it or not.
So did it show you passed?
We know she took out all of our tests, so we don't know our grades. So now we're just sitting back,
So people are ticked off right now.
ticked off, and we're all on the edge of our seats wondering.
Oh
But
my goodness.
we should.
How many people are
pass.
in your group text for the?
Our specific group? There's 11 of us. In the
Okay.
class, there's 50. But
Okay.
the class is broken up into 5 groups.
Uh-huh.
So there's 11.
What are you working on right now? Like as far as in
in the school? We just finished our fundamentals theory class. That was just like the basics of nursing.
Like patient
Patient care, like some advanced CNA style stuff. Then there was some nursing, actual RN skills we did in that. Then we had our skills class where we actually got to do some hands-on work.
Mm. Is that in the hospital?
No, not this semester. With
So
COVID.
what'd you do? What was that?
For our specific clinicals this semester, being we were first semester students, they didn't put us in, or our group didn't get to go into the hospital with COVID and everything.
Mhm.
So they kept us like in our skills lab, and we did like virtual patient care. Like they have the mannequin and say
Yeah.
like, this is the situation. Go in there. What would you do? So we would go in there
Okay.
and do like assessments or any nursing interventions we needed to do.
Mhm.
Which actually it wasn't just a mannequin. It's actually cool. The mannequin will talk to you. You can hear it breathe. The eyes will blink. The skin will change color. It's like
What?
it's kind of like a person. So
Holy cow.
it's really cool.
Really?
You can listen to their breath sounds, and it'll be different sounds for different things. We got to do like practice our shots and stuff like
Oh,
that.
you did?
Yeah.
Oh, just like shots in the arm?
We
No,
actually,
or IVs you're talking about.
we know IVs is beginning of second semester.
Okay.
I wish it was IVs. We did a little bit of studying on it, but we actually didn't get to do it yet.
Mm.
That'll be next semester.
Do you guys do it on each other, or do you do it on actual patients at that point?
At that point, we'll practice in the skills lab, like on a mannequin, because it's like real skin
Is
on
it?
the mannequins.
Ooh,
and
that's gotta be
then-
kind of weird.
Yeah, it's kind of trippy.
Is it like that on the mannequin you were trained the other stuff on too? Is it
Yeah,
like real
it's
skin?
It's tough skin, but it's like real skin.
Mm.
But
Or is it?
yeah,
Maybe it is.
it's a cadaver.
Yeah.
But next semester we'll do it on real people in the hospital.
Okay.
So that'll be fun.
Straight. Like the first time you'll be doing it on.
It'll be the first time I've ever done it on a person.
But I mean, you'll be doing it to people in the hospital.
Yeah.
They're your first time.
Yeah.
That's always fun. Like some people don't care, but I bet you get the person like, no way, I ain't having a new person do this. Or do you just not even say anything?
Oh, we'll introduce ourselves as a student nurse, so they know. But I won't say it's my first time.
Right.
But I can't wait. It'll be fun.
Dude, that's been awesome. So you'll probably get to do a bunch, you think, or
It depends on your nurse who
like
you're
what
following.
did Megan?
She got to do quite a few.
She did.
Yeah. She said it all depends on if the nurse that you're following that day will let you. But hopefully you get a cool nurse, and they'll
But I mean, aren't they supposed to if that's part of your training?
supposed to. It just depends on if they want you there or not.
Which hospital do you think you'll be at?
Cheyenne was at Clovis Community,
Oh, okay.
and then she was at CRMC.
Okay.
So I'll probably be at one of those.
Those are good. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The next
Busy.
semester's the med surge, and then OB. They
Oh, really?
have a whole semester of OB.
You go to like children, or like where do you go for OB?
I think Cheyenne was at Clovis for OB.
Okay.
Which
Hmm.
I'm not looking forward to, but it's part of it.
Yeah. That'll
It's
be-
not my specific area of nursing I want to go into.
Yeah. Well, what is it like? What are you looking for besides the other later
Trauma.
down the road? Trauma.
Trauma. Yeah,
Yeah.
ER trauma.
Is that something you can get into right out of school?
Yeah, I've talked to quite a few of my nurses at the hospital I work right now,
Uh-huh.
and they all started in the ER. They go straight to ER.
Oh, that's nice.
So there's always a potential to start. If you don't, I mean, I'll take whatever job's offered, even if it's not in a specific area, and then just transfer over eventually if I can. But I would love to start straight into the ER.
Yeah.
That's why I'm hoping my experience right now as an ER tech helps me get in there.
Are you so is there anything specifically that bother you as far as blood, guts,
Vomit.
poop?
Poop
vomit?
doesn't. I worked as a CNA for about a year, so that really doesn't bother me anymore. I don't like it, obviously, but it doesn't
Right.
bother me
nobody
to turn my
likes it.
stomach. But vomit will get me.
Vomit does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If someone throws up, I have a hard time.
Yeah.
I'll do it, but it's just.
Is it the smell or is it the look? Because some people are visual and some people are like smell.
I think it's the smell.
Yeah, I'm smell. Because I can look at the texture. I don't care what it looks like, but when I get a whiff.
Thankfully, I have not had. Oh, I've had quite a few throw up in the ER, but not on me yet.
Yeah.
And there's a CNA got on me before.
On you?
Yeah.
Ooh, throw up?
Oh yeah. You know, they did it before they even said anything, and it's just like I got a little bit on me. It's like, are you serious?
What was one of the nurses the other day was talking about how someone, what did they do that they came? Oh, they had okay, what kind is that? I'm trying to think. It's a catheter.
A Foley?
It's the one that goes up in straight in. It's a different one. The style I've never heard of. It's not just like in the urethra. It's like a different type.
I can't think of the name.
You know what I'm talking
about?
about?
Yeah, they actually go above.
And I guess they were pulling it out, or the patient was moving, and it flicked up and shot pee all over their faces. Yeah.
My nurses had a few like that.
I can only imagine this. So, let's go over a little couple EMS stories if you don't mind. I mean, I'll start out. So I'm trying to think. I mean, you gotta be careful because of patient privacy. But when they're in the past and you're not saying names or whatever, it's not a big deal, obviously. But I know one of the calls I had was gnarly. I mean, I've had a lot of calls, but
you get the good stuff.
Well, I'm surprised how the stuff that you see still.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in the trauma room, so I mean, it is what it is. That's the same thing.
I get more in there than I do the ambulance.
Yeah.
Way more.
Did you really?
The ambulance, you get a lot of just regular calls. Just they're sick and they want to go to the hospital. But
let me tell you
this. You would have your fun in between, though.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you this. I think if you worked around here,
yeah,
dude, it's nuts. So it's been so busy lately too. But so there's ALS unit and then there's the BLS unit.
Yeah.
So our BLS unit brought us a call. Yeah.
That means they're slammed.
Dude, exactly. I guess 40 minutes was the closest ALS unit. So can you imagine being two fresh EMTs?
No.
Bringing in somebody that got hit by a car, going, who knows, 40, 50 miles an hour. And you can't do anything really. Like they can't start an IV.
If they're on a BLS unit, they don't even carry that on the
there's
ambulance.
nothing. They literally just threw them in and rushed them straight to our base because it was close enough away, like there's some protocol or whatever.
Yeah.
But they had all the clothes cut off the slaves. She was like 38 years old. She was out. I mean, obviously she wasn't there, and she still had her hospital booties on. So she was basically a meth head.
Yeah.
And got hit. They brought her in. Man, they did really good, honestly, for being two fresh EMTs that have no clue. But they were like, we've never seen nothing like this. We've never done like this. I was like, man, I can't believe that you guys got to take a call like this. But the firefighters were on scene with them too. But they bounced as soon as they got them to us. They're like, all right, see you guys. But I mean, they didn't do anything either. They just gave a little bit of oxygen.
Yeah.
I mean, what else?
That's all you can do.
They can do. But dude, she got there. They intubated her, darted her 3 times. I mean, like everything in the book that you do on a patient was getting done right there. They're like, we did everything. They're like, we did everything to this patient that we can possibly do in our practice.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's crazy. It was an intense call. I mean, that's nothing crazy as far as some calls I've had, but I mean, just the fact that they did everything that you could possibly do. So like if you were as a medic on there, I mean, you would have been
Yeah. Or what the?
Pretty busy.
We had to land in the middle of the field because the tourniquet came off.
Oh, yeah. That one, we took off. We picked this patient up that basically sawed half of his arm off with the power saw. And down closer to the wrist, like mid forearm, down closer to the wrist, went like halfway through it. They tourniqueted him up here on above the bicep, like they should, and stopped the bleeding a little bit. We got in the helicopter. We're halfway to the hospital, and I hear the medic, and they're pretty calm and collected most of the time. He's like, but if they're telling me to land,
yeah,
they ain't calm and collective anymore. He's like, and I don't really know why, because I know it was bleeding more, but, well, that's the reason. Is the bleeding got uncontrolled again.
Yeah.
Patient would have bled out, and this is actually right before we started giving blood. Now we give blood. We actually have blood on the helicopter.
Nice.
But still, they still would have had to land because there's no way he could get the arm in the back. You see how small it is back there.
Yeah.
He's all land, and I'm like, what? I'd only been working there for like a month. I'm like, am I allowed to do that? So picked some, talked to Tower, told him I'm landing, picked some alfalfa field, random alfalfa field, just stuck it down. And anyways, he got a second tourniquet on it and cramped it down, and yeah, I had to help a little bit on that.
That's crazy.
To say the least, but yeah, I was covered in blood. I felt like I was back in Afghanistan. He was covered in blood. I mean, that's that job, but it can get pretty gnarly pretty fast. You don't got a lot of room to work in those Bell 407s.
No.
But
I can't believe how small your helicopter is compared to. We had the helicopter come into the hospital. I think they were from Stanford. There's like the back end of their helicopter dropped down. We went up a ramp. Yeah, it was way bigger than what.
Isn't that kind of weird though, walking behind the helicopter like that though?
Yeah.
It does that creeps. Even though the tail rotor is inside of it's called a finstrom, but you can't walk into it.
Yeah, it's still trippy.
Where was that at?
They landed at Emmanuel, yeah.
Oh, okay. What kind of patient was it? I mean,
he had a brain bleed.
So transfer.
Yeah, so they just transferred him out.
So you're working in the ER there. Are you still working very much, or has it slowed down?
During school, I'm per diem, so I was doing 1 day a week. Yeah.
So you're still working 1 day a week then?
Yeah, but
now. When's the last time you worked?
Last week.
Okay.
But then the summer now I've gone back to full time.
Oh, okay.
For the summer, then I'll switch back.
You're done? Have you finished school yet? You're finishing your finals or something, right?
I just finished yesterday.
So you're done.
I'm done. Yeah.
So next week you're gonna go back to
hopefully
working a bunch.
Scheduling kind of got messed up this round, so we'll see. My name's on the list to be called in as much as possible.
Okay.
So hopefully, if not, I'll have like a week or two of just a little vacation from school and work, and then go right back to it. Have
you had anything wild recently?
Recently, it wasn't last shift, but the last one before that. Actually, I was we had our huddle before, and like, all right, who wants to go work out in triage, which is sitting out like by the waiting room. Mm-hmm. People come in, they just triage them, and it's actually really boring and slow. But I had a test the next day, so I was like, I'll work out there. Give me some free study time if it slows down, which usually it does after about midnight. And so it was me and the nurse out there. It's about 2:00 in the morning, super slow, and I'm just kicked back studying because nobody's in the ER. Is maybe 1 or 2 people in there waiting. And the security guard just walked up, and she's like, "Hey, Colton, can you help us load a patient out front? He can't get into a wheelchair." I was like, oh, "Okay, yeah." Walked out there, and then she didn't even make it sound like anything crazy. And I was like, "I'm going to the door." She's like, "Come on, he's actually unconscious." I was like, "Oh, what?" So I yelled at my nurse, said, "Come out here." Went to the door, and I opened it, and he was a big, like 300, 400-pound guy. He was big, and you could just tell by looking at him, he's dead. He wasn't unconscious. He was dead. So I ran around the other side of the car I climbed in, trying to feel a pulse, whatever. I was like, no, there's no way. He's gone. And then told my nurse, I go back in there and get the other nurses and bring a stretcher. So I started doing compressions on him, just trying to get him in the car. But I really had no room to do compressions, so it wasn't doing much.
Oh, it was someone's personal car. They drove him in.
Yeah, they just drove him in. He was a neighbor.
So there was no room.
No, there was.
How'd they get him in there?
He was alive, and that's why while I was doing compressions, I looked at the guy. I said, "Are you related?" He goes, "No." He goes, "I'm just a neighbor." I go, "How'd you get him in here?" He's like, "Oh, he was walking and talking, totally fine." Like, "Oh, okay."
But
And
why did they come to the hospital? Oh, so
he asked him to bring him to the hospital.
why he wasn't feeling good?
Yeah, he said his chest was hurting.
Holy
So
smokes!
probably-
Okay, so you started doing compressions.
I started doing compressions
which
right
was
there.
no room.
No, I wasn't getting any depth, but that's all you could do at that moment. And then the rest, some of the nurses came out, the doctor came out, and it took like 6 or 7 of us to pull him out of the car, load him on the stretcher. One of the other nurses jumped on top of him and started doing compressions on the stretcher. We rushed him in. We worked on him for about an hour, but never got him back.
Wow.
So he was like in his early 50s.
Really?
Yeah, he was a young guy.
I mean, obviously now we don't. What did the neighbors say? Like what he was feeling like? Like
No, he
You
just
didn't
said
really know,
he
but-
just said that he knocked on his door and said, "Hey, can you take me to the hospital? I kind of have some chest pain." And he said he was totally fine. He's about halfway here. He just kind of laid his head back and went unconscious.
wow.
And
So
then-
really not a painful death.
no,
just-
yeah, he just slipped away.
Heart just stopped beating. Huh?
Uh huh.
Man, that's crazy.
And we talked to his family, and they're like, "No, nothing's ever been, no medical condition, no nothing like
That's
that."
young.
And yeah, he died on the way to the hospital. It's
Prob-
crazy.
Probably weight didn't help him. I'm sure.
Yeah, no, he was
No.
big. To get him out of that car, it was a little tiny like Corolla. It was a small car,
Mm.
so we were all crawling through it. I felt bad for the guy's car, but I mean, at that point,
Yeah,
it is what it is.
I'm sure he didn't care.
No,
Huh.
but
I felt
That-
bad. So, and this was longer ago when I was at Skylight, but we picked a lady up, and it kind of made me mad actually for her. We got a call that said dog attack. That's not something you ever see. Like that never pops up on the thing, right? It's always like motor vehicle accident,
Yeah.
or like you said, like a brain bleed transfer, or shooting, like a GSW gunshot wound or something like that. And we're like, okay. And it was like up in the foothills, and we go flying up there, and we land, and I think the medics had finally gotten there because it was up in the hills, so it took them a while to get there. They really didn't beat us by much. But what happened was these 2 or 3 pit bulls. This lady was just walking down the road, going to her house or the store or whatever, and these pit bulls came and attacked her. 3 of them. They said they dragged her. Bystanders were saying, "Oh yeah, they dragged her for like 200, 300 yards." And I'm thinking, what were you doing?
they doing?
Yeah, exactly. This is how stupid people are. What were you doing while this poor lady is getting dragged? Dude, her legs look like someone took a shotgun to him.
That's
Like
horrible.
from her hips down, her arms were tore up, bite marks, and these stupid dogs literally just gnawed on her. And yeah, they were. It was like, honest to God, it looked like they were eating her, dude. Like I've never seen that before. Like I've heard stories of dogs attacking and stuff, but like I was like, what would cause I think
Usually it
having
seems-
multiple dogs
Yeah.
cause the frenzy.
Yeah,
you know.
when one snaps, usually they all just feed off the emotion of the other one.
Yeah,
Just
they tore her
lose their
up
mind.
bad. She ended up being okay, but later on, she was messed up. Can you imagine
No,
being
cannot
drugged
imagine.
down the road? So she not only had road rash from getting drugged, but like you're the prey.
Yeah.
At that point, you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like, ugh, that was pretty. I was just mad for the people saying they seen it, and no one took a bat out there and started, trying to hit those
Mhm.
dogs off her.
yeah.
Stupid.
People don't react very much.
No,
They'll
they
sit
don't.
and watch.
That's the one thing I know you've seen that, and I've seen it so many times. And I think that's being in the field. You learn how to not like panic and not.
Yeah,
I guess it's because what it is. People when they don't ever see stuff like that, it throws them in so much shock that they stare or they get panicked. Whereas this isn't maybe always a good thing, but when you see stuff like that a lot, it doesn't phase you as bad, and you can react very calm and collected. You know what I mean?
but then people look at you also like, "Oh, you're so cold and
Yeah.
cold-hearted toward it." It's just like, no, you see it all the time. So
Yeah.
it's not going to jumpstart your heart and freak you out like it
No.
used to.
Yeah.
mean, it did at first.
Exactly.
It totally did at first. My first trauma calls or whatever on the ambulance, oh, your heart's racing. Now it's just like a gunshot wound or something crazy. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, your adrenaline's still up, but it's not like,
It has nothing to do with you're not caring about that person or you
No.
don't have compassion.
yeah, you don't have apathy, you don't have sympathy for
Yeah,
them. It's
that's
just,
the word I was looking for. Yeah. It's just you have a job to do. You got to do it.
hmm
It's not like, oh, I'm heartless. No. It's not at all. And see, I'm in different shoes because I don't do patient care, right?
Yeah.
But like, I mean, there's times where you're kind of involved. Like the other day, a guy was riding his motorcycle. It wasn't me. I was coming on. It just had happened, and the other pilot was like, "Have you ever held someone's leg from the hip down in a bag while they worked on the patient?" I was like, "That I have not done." He was holding the whole. He goes, "I was holding the whole leg in a plastic bag because guy had gotten in a motorcycle accident. I don't know how in the world it ripped his leg off, but that's insane." Like,
yeah,
that's
next level.
different. You don't hear that. That's not very often. I was like, yeah, that'd be kind of a weird feeling. So holding someone's leg,
Yeah.
you know, I've the digits. I've held the bag with the fingers in it. People cut their finger off or whatever.
That's different than a leg, though.
Oh, that's way different. I mean, you got to be sitting in the what range there for a leg? I mean, that's got to weigh 40, 70 pounds, like depending on the person. I would
Yeah,
think.
if it's the whole leg.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
And he even said, and he's been doing this for a long time too. And he was like, that one was a little interesting. Yeah. Certain things can make even if you've been doing it for a long time, make the thing. I know one thing that bothers a lot of people, and rightly so, is when stuff happens to kids. Because you can see people very cold and staunch for being in this line of work, but then when something happens to a kid, those 20-year veterans can crack.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because it's an innocent kid. The thing is, I think people understand in this field is a lot of times it is people that bring this onto themselves. So it's not that you still don't feel bad for them, but at the same time, like, well, if you weren't cooking meth in there,
yeah,
it wouldn't have blown up and cooked you. You know, but I mean, we all make bad decisions in life. Some just worse than others, right? But and then same thing. I mean, but you can do that with everything, right? Well, if you weren't riding a motorcycle, you wouldn't have gotten a bad accident. Just like we've all heard those things, right? So,
kids totally different. Totally, it's a whole new dynamic. Because on the ambulance, the youngest I ever had was 18. The youngest I've had for like in the ER, like a real trauma, she was 11. It's a totally different scenario. Like there's not no one sitting down in the ER. Even the secretaries are up.
Just they're rooting for it.
Yeah, they're standing up watching.
Yeah,
everybody's hoping. Yeah. They had chaplains from the police department, our chaplain, the fire department.
Really?
Everybody showed up.
Yeah.
There was not nobody.
You talking about for the 11-year-old?
Yeah.
What happened there?
For them, her and her family were coming home from a restaurant. It was her dad, mom, and then 3 kids. And I think the oldest kid was 14. They were coming home, going about 35, 40 miles an hour, and a drunk driver hit them from behind, knocked them into a light pole. All of them were buckled up except her, and she was in the middle seat, and it ejected her through the front.
She was the only one that wasn't?
Yeah. All the family walked away with just scratches. It ejected her through the front windshield, and then the car ran over her, and then it tore like half of her face off. Like it was like a total just like flap of skin, like laid over, and then a bunch of internal injuries. And then they worked on her for about 2.5 hours, and they got her back for a while, just long enough. They let the parents in. They told her bye. And then she coded right after that. They never got
she
her
was
back.
aware.
I don't know if she was aware or not.
Yeah, you
but
know.
They had a pulse, so she was breathing. They had just got her back. They threw everything they had in the book at her to try to get her to come back.
That's hard with the parents. I mean, as a parent, I would want to be in there too, but
they just told the parents like, we're back right now. We don't know how much longer. Do you want to come see her? And they said the dad didn't want to, but the mom said yeah. So they both went in there. And then they were in there telling her bye when she coded again. And so they kind of just walked them out. And then maybe 30 minutes later, they called it. So and that one was hard.
Yeah.
That was a rough one for sure. So
that'll affect you for a while.
Yeah, that one did, without a doubt. Everybody in the ER it kind of took everybody down for a little bit.
Yeah. And no one will ever question that either, because if you do, you're a pretty heartless jerk, you know. We had the same scenario, and see, that's why I don't want to get on this, because I get on soapbox, but like the drunk driving thing, it really hacks me off when people kind of joke and talk lightly about driving drunk. Like, yeah, I didn't remember that drive home. I'm sure you've worked in the environment long enough. You've heard people say that.
Yeah.
And I snap on them. I'm like, dude, are you serious right now? Like, you think, I don't care if you're going 25 miles an hour. You're impaired in your vision. you're impaired on your reflexes. You're impaired
Yeah.
on everything. And for you to do that, like this is my opinion. People that do that should be locked away for just as like you were for a regular murder.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Without a doubt.
Because you have Uber, you have taxis, you can call somebody. If you're drunk, you need to do that. But that's the problem. You ain't thinking clearly.
Exactly.
So that's the whole point of that is what bugs me about that. And how many people I can't believe I've heard them say that they've done that. I'm like, even you, like I'm thinking, I couldn't see you being someone to do that. Like, especially working in this field, knowing how many times and how many families have been jacked up because of people like you. You know what I mean? Oh, well, it's just a back road, or, it's just slow in town. It's not like I'm on the freeway. It's like, I don't give a care. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the same thing. We had a gnarly call, and that was rough too, because there was a mom and a dad and 3 kids in the back. So mom and dad in the front, 3 kids in the back, and this drunk driver out in the country road. I don't know how fast he was going, pretty fast supposedly. They said 70, 80, somewhere in there. Ran a stop sign and plastered him and killed both parents. And now the kids are stuck as, it's left to the system because some stinking guy wanted to drink and drive, And it's like you're looking at that. I mean, that was a chaotic scene because I think I don't know how they showed up so fast. I don't know if they were coming home from something. But the other family members were just right, screaming, wailing, the typical of what you would expect.
Yep.
And then it just causes more chaos because, people are trying to help the kids. We flew the one younger kid. They were really little. I want to say they were only like 3 or 4. And all of them were under 5. So there was like an infant, like a 3 and a 5 or something like that. And we flew him in, and the flight medic, actually cracked. She's done the rest of the shift. She was in there just weeping, like, because she's thinking, most of them are like, I'm thinking of my kids.
Yeah.
And that's usually what happens. But even if you have kids or not, it doesn't really make a difference. It still affects everybody.
Yeah. That's what I hear a lot of my nurses say at work. When something like that happens, it's always they're thinking about their own kids or what if that was their kid.
Yeah. But, yeah, when it comes to kids, I mean, innocent kids or even elderly people too, stuff like that, situations where, wrongdoing stuff. It's a field that, you really, I mean, I feel like the advantage that we have is we have the Lord to go to pray to, and good Christian friends that we can, because you're probably not going to talk about that with everybody. You're just not going to bring that up.
Yeah.
I don't. Even though I'm not working on like you and you feel more responsibility, that's just part of it is if you put your hands on and you're working on them, you're going to feel more. Mm-hmm. But I don't because I'm not doing anything. I can just get them there is all I can do and get them there safely. But the mindset of it, like you just thinking about it and how it happened and your kids and then, but surrounded by good people that you can talk to, that can pray for you, that you can pray. Because, and I know good and well that the Lord does give you strength and comfort you in those times of need.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make it, it doesn't take it away, the emotion of it.
No.
And sometimes the thoughts that randomly pop up and then you think of it, But this is EMS week. So that being said, thank you for what you do and your service in there. And what you're progressing to do to help out the community, because we need more people that do it because they can actually care. And I'm not saying everybody doesn't, but some do it for a career, right?
Yeah.
But I'm glad you're out there, going to be out there, and hopefully we get to work on the helicopter one of these days.
That'd be fun.
Be local and be close to home. And the cool thing about that job is for you guys is working basically 2 days a week.
Yep.
You do 2 24s, and then you can work your heart's desire out. Working at any other hospital that you decide, or other bases.
Yeah.
There's dude, we need help so bad right now. Like it just comes and goes. Nurses come and go.
Tell them to save me a spot.
I know. That's what I told them. I go, just wait a few more years. But anyways, well, we'll probably end this one. But anyways, thanks again for your service in the EMS field.
Thank you.
It's greatly appreciated. I feel like a lot of times you guys can be unappreciated because no one really sees that stuff. They don't really know how much stuff you guys are doing, whether it's in the hospital or out in the field on the streets. It's an unthankless job. I mean, when I say that, I mean, okay, that person that you helped, they may come back maybe one day and say thank you. You know, that does happen occasionally. But when I say that is, I'm here in my own house. I hear the sirens every once in a while. I don't think about what's going on. I don't think about the mental stress you're facing or other people are facing. But it's what would we do without you guys? So it's definitely something to be thankful for. I wish you guys made more money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see other jobs, people making this money. I'm like, why are they making that? These guys, to me, in my opinion, EMTs, medics, nurses make good money. But those two, the EMTs and medics, should definitely make a lot more money.
Way more money.
Because it's a major, major mental job, and it's hard work. You guys, the calls never stop. And we could talk for a long time. I want to have you back on again and do more of just this. Mm-hmm. But we're getting close to an hour, so I guess I'll let you go. I know you probably got other things to do, but thanks for coming over and do this episode today.
Oh, thank you.
And ending it with knowing, hopefully this year, I know you're going to be busy with school, so hopefully we can get out a little bit this year. Maybe I'll try to save a spot in the pond and shoot some more cinnamons.
Oh, yeah.
No,
I'll get back out there.
Oh, yeah. So, all right, guys, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys on the next one.